Hi again, FBC family. Pastor Michael here. Since we can't get together during Good Friday and also Easter, I'm gonna, with this video, the Conversations of Hope video, I'm gonna change it up a bit and allow us a time that we can have communion together. Normally we would have that on our Good Friday service leading into Easter, but hopefully this will at least attempt to replicate that. If you're doing this together with a group of people, and I would encourage you to do that, do it with your family or maybe some people online. So I know some of the life groups are doing this, watching the video while they go through it. May I encourage you first off that this is for those that are believers in Jesus Christ. When we normally have it in our church service, our communion time, I reference 1 Corinthians 11. And after going through what Paul instructs to the church there, he says this in verse 26. He says, "For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes." And that signifies that this is for those that know that Jesus is returning, that his death, burial, and resurrection was something that they can now come to the table and proclaim with joy and with thanksgiving. So it's really and truly for those that are followers of Jesus Christ. So if you'd like to, take some time now, just go get yourself some juice. I've got some in our traditional cups, and I've got a piece of bread here. And pause the video so you can get set up. And then come back and we will have communion together. Great, well, welcome back. So following in the storyline that we've been looking at with the words of Jesus. Now, past Sunday we looked at Matthew and we looked at the triumphal entry and Jesus' clearing of the temple. And now, later on in the week, we come to chapter 26 of Matthew. Now, at this time, so the triumphal entry happened on possibly the Sunday, and he comes back on the Monday and clears the temple, and he teaches constantly for the next 2 or 3 chapters, teaching about the vine and the branches. He teaches to his disciples on the Mount of Olives. He goes back into the temple and teaches there as well. And then we come to chapter 26, near the middle of the chapter, verse 17. Now on the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man, and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is near. I am to keep the Passover at your house with my disciples.'" The disciples did this as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover. Now in verse 20, it kind of shifts, and I'm thinking maybe there was the evening. It may not have been the Passover meal that Jesus instructed us, but that's another debate right now that's going on. I'll let you talk about that amongst yourselves. It says, "Now when evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12 disciples. As they were eating, he said, 'Truly I say to you that one of you will betray me.' Being deeply grieved, they each one began to say to him, 'Surely not I, Lord.' And he answered, 'He who dipped his hand with me in the bowl is the one who will betray me. The Son of Man is to go, just as it is written of him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born.' And Judas, who was betraying him, said, 'Surely it is not I, Rabbi.' And Jesus said to him, 'You have said it yourself.' So while they were eating," this is verse 26, "while they were eating, Jesus took some bread, and after a blessing, he broke it, and he gave it to his disciples. And he said, 'Take, eat, this is my body.'" Just take a moment to reflect on those words. This is my body. In other places, it talks about the broken body. And as we lead into Good Friday and then the death and the burial of Jesus, his body was broken for you and for me. Take, eat. This is my body. Verse 27 keeps it going. And when he had taken a cup and given thanks, he gave it to them, saying this, drink from it, all of you. For this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. The covenant, the promise of God. His blood poured out for you and for me. Drink from it, all of you. During that supper time, the disciples sang a hymn and left. And later on, the early church took up this mantle of what this broken body and this shed blood really meant. It meant the promise of the new covenant. Take some time now and share as a family or as a life group or others as you just want to share together what the meaning of this really truly is for you. As we come to Good Friday, and we look at his broken body yet again. The broken body on the cross that was then brought down and buried in a tomb for 3 days. Why did he do this? For the covenant, the promise of God the Father. May you be blessed by his word, not only of the word, but also of Jesus' actions of going to the cross for you and for me. I look forward to Sunday and celebrating the time of Christ being risen from the dead. But right now, let's just reflect upon that which our Savior did for us. Shed his blood, his broken body, so that the promise of God, that promise of relationship, can be restored. Be blessed.